Welcome all to another episode of the C64 Roundup, your concise guide to the latest news and releases for your Commodore 64. So let's kick this month off by taking a look at some of the new game releases. Haplo is back with another title, and this time he has modified his Tenebra game engine to produce a quick play shooter called Hell Beneath. Your objective is to shoot the hordes of monsters coming in your direction and keep on shooting them until the bar at the bottom fills all the way to the right. Each level is only partially lit up by the radius of the light given off by the fire torch. Your player automatically shoots, so your only job is to set the direction of the bullets by holding fire and moving the joystick in the desired direction. After you survive each level, you are given a choice of upgrades to select, which include faster bullets, a faster firing rate, less enemies, having bullets pass through more than one monster, and having the whole level briefly lit up every 5 seconds. Within the confines of it being a self-described coffee break game, Hell Beneath is fun and somewhat addictive to play. The randomization of the upgrade items between each level is an element I quite enjoyed. Hell Beneath is available as a digital download and is compatible with both PAL and NTSC systems. Meteor Shower is another quick and simple little shooter. Your objective is to repel as many meteors as possible so they don't breach the hull of your spaceship. Once the time is up, you need to quickly hurry inside for a breather, and then it's on to the next level of barrage. This one didn't really grab me. It feels way too simplistic, and it feels odd not seeing what is being shot at the meteors to repel them. Once you've completed one level, there really isn't nothing more to see here. Meteor Shower is a free digital download. C64 Light Cycles is an implementation of the Tron Light Cycles game. You and your opponent have to steer the vehicles around as they leave behind a tail trail. Ride around as long as possible as you avoid your opponent's vehicle and the trails. First one to 5 wins the game. C64 Light Cycles features both a 1 and 2 player modes. Once again, nothing really special here. It will be somewhat fun playing with a friend though. I did find the game's turning mechanism to be a little frustrating, as last second changes in direction often resulted in a crash being detected. I think this has to do something with the turning animation taking up more characters than the actual bike. Oh well. C64 Light Cycles is a free digital download and is both PAL and NTSC compatible. Vox Video Game has released another vertical shoot 'em up built with the shoot 'em up construction kit engine. This time it's the third installment to the Vortex series, Super Vortex 3. The game is essentially a slightly enhanced remake of Super Vortex 2. Like many other games from Vox Video Game, Super Vortex 3's graphics are good and the backing music has some quality to it, but when it comes to game design, then it's a bit of a fail. And this is mainly to do with the enemies being either static or boringly linear. The action on offer is sparse and it's possible to get to the end of game boss battle without killing too many enemies. Super Vortex 3 is a self-published commercial game, and for the $4 being asked for to download and play the game, Vox Video Game really needs to spend a lot more time improving enemy waves so as to make their games more interesting to play. Anyway, if you want to try out Super Vortex 3, then head on over to itch.io to access a digital download. Okay, let's take a look at something with a bit of quality and challenge to it. The Laserscape is a tile-based puzzle game. The objective of the game is to colour a designated area of the floor tiles so that they match the colour of the level exit door, all while avoiding the death ray coming from the top and right side of the screen. Stepping on a tile will change the colour of the floor tile until it reaches the colour you require. On many of the levels, the colour change will actually continue to cycle to the next colour, so the challenge here is trying to figure out how to set a tile to the colour you want without having to step on it again, otherwise you're going to have to cycle through them all over again. Some levels contain orbs that will provide you with temporary protection from the lasers, while other levels contain holes that need to be avoided. When you complete a level, you're given a passcode so you can continue your progress without replaying all the early levels again. There are 20 levels in total. Vector 5 is slowly proving themselves to be one of my favourite independent producers of C64 games. Production values are always good, gameplay is always progressive and challenging, and they avoid ports or conversions of games that already exist. Laserscape is available as a digital download from itch.io. let's see what bit of news we have for you this month. Knife Grinder continues to work on his C64 game project called Bone Dry. The game is inspired by a Monster World series from the Sega consoles, with a bit of Knight and Grail, the Nintendo game DuckTales, and Shovel Knight thrown in. The backstory to Bone Dry involves a group of pirates shipwrecked on a cursed island populated by strange and unfriendly creatures, and ruled by a feared and elusive queen. When the captain of the ghostly crew finds that their treasure has been plundered, he sets off to explore the island and to recover the items that have been taken. Bone Dry will be a multi-load game, developed with SD2 IEC users in mind. It is said to contain a large size game map, roughly 6 times larger than Knife Grinder's first C64 title, Lester. The game world will feature an underwater section and shops to buy upgrades. Bone Dry won't be ready until at least 2025, as Knife Grinder goes all out to create a AAA experience. Can't wait. Sarah Jane Avery is busy putting the finishing touches to the Briley Witch Chronicles sequel. Reported to cover books 5 and 6 of the Briley Witch series, Sarah has been posting a number of video clips on Twitter, and as you can see, it is a case of more of the same for Briley Witch Chronicles 2, which can't be a bad thing at all when you consider the quality of the original game. The hype for Briley 2 has been somewhat subdued compared to the first game, and probably this has to do with the realisation that most middle-aged boys don't have the time or patience to play JRPG titles that require in excess of 20 hours to complete. As the game is now currently in its final testing phase, Sarah is aiming to have Briley Witch 2 ready for this year, with a good possibility that it will be released before the end of November. It's been almost 3 years since Marv Hardy first showed the world a glimpse of the Chaos Engine conversion he was working on. The project has laid somewhat dormant over time, and I was pretty sure we were not going to see anything more of it. Well, I'm so pleased to be wrong, as it looks like Marv has garnered another round of motivation to jump back on the project, and this time he's made some meaningful progress. Graphics-wise, things are quite impressive, as you can instantly tell that this is Chaos Engine. The current implementation of the SID track is also recognisable, even though there's room for improvement. Marv has mentioned that his objective is to just convert the first level of the game, which I think in itself will still be a worthy release. No release date on this one, and it's likely we'll be waiting for a while for its completion. Hey, you look like you're in need for some more games. Well, here you go. Darkland 2 is a horror-themed vertical scrolling shooter from the Siak maestro himself, Alf Ingve. The original Darkland was released back in 2014, and Alf has resurrected the series to bring you another spook-filled episode. You take control of a player with a flashlight on hand, illuminating the ground ahead as you progress deep into a forest filled with all sorts of monsters and creepy crawlies. You use your flashlight to locate the evil that lurks within the shadows and give them a blast from your pistol to send them back to the hell that they came from. Just like the first game, Darkland 2 is built using a modified version of the shoot-'em-up construction kit engine and provides a simplistic and slow-paced run-and-gun style experience. Backed by an atmospheric soundtrack, Darkland 2 contains somewhat minimalistic graphics and a game environment that progressively gets darker the further you make your way into the forest, making it harder to see the danger that lies ahead. For a 1 or 2 time play, Darkland 2 is worth trying out, especially since it's available as a free digital download from Psytronic Software's itch.io page. Stinger is a single-screen shooter game where your objective is to clear the level of all enemy tanks that cascade their way down the screen. There are 5 different types of enemy tanks for you to deal with across 6 different levels. From time to time, eliminated tanks will drop power-ups for you to pick up. Overall, the game is pretty basic, and you are likely to get bored with it before you lose all your lives. But it's available as a free digital download from GitHub, so you have nothing to lose by trying it out. Retro Arts has released Evil Dungeon 2, Ulrich's Revenge, a sequel to the original dungeon crawler title that was released earlier this year. Evil Dungeon 2 sees you continue the story of Ulrich, a young adventurer who has just escaped the mysterious corridors of the underground dungeon beneath the city of Radric. New quests await, and driven by adventure and the need to avenge his parents' murder, Ulrich continues his hunt for the degenerate orcs. Evil Dungeon 2 is set in a fantasy theme, featuring role-playing and strategic turn-based combat elements. Just like the original title, Evil Dungeon 2 is really easy to get into and is perfect for anyone who wants to give the genre a try. Navigate your way from room to room, searching for items to pick up while doing battle against a collection of dungeon nasties and building up your experience points. The combat system is simple to use. You select whether you want to attack, use a fire vial or escape. If you choose to attack, then automatic dice rolls determine whether the attacks and parries are successful. There are treasure chests for you to loot, but only if you have a lockpick available. The sequel contains a new maze, enemies and items to use, and looks to improve upon the original Evil Dungeon by adding quick potions as tactical options during combat, and making gameplay feel more progressive by initially locking off specific areas of the game. Evil Dungeon 2 offers more than an hour's worth of gaming, and I personally found the whole experience to be quite absorbing and fun, and proves to show you that you can still produce good games in basic version 2. Evil Dungeon 2 is a commercial release that is available in both digital and physical disc formats. Vampire Vengeance is a multi-level platform game ported across from the ZX Spectrum that sees you take on the role of Count Orlak, a vampire looking for vengeance years after being attacked by the Knights of the Silver Cross. Containing 30 levels spread across 4 different acts, Vampire Vengeance starts things off within the hull of a ship sailing to Romania. The Count has the ability to turn into a vampire bat, a form which he can use to fly around to reach various parts of the game screen, but it's only in his Count form that Orlak can attack and kill. Typically, you will look to do this from behind in order to avoid the Knight's sword attack, so getting the timing right as to when to attack is a key part of the game. Get the timing wrong, not only do you lose a life, but the level resets itself as well. You'll come across relics that can be collected, and the game has 2 different endings depending on whether you're able to collect all 10 relics. The game is quite well presented with its high-res graphics, and using acts to progress the game narrative is well implemented, especially when you come across additional enemy types, as it makes the gameplay feel progressive. The difficulty curve is on the high side due to the levels resetting, and there is a degree of learning enemy patterns with a bit of trial and error as to when you should attack that needs to be undertaken. And perhaps this will be part of the game that may turn some people off from progressing through the game. Regardless, there's no denying the quality of the overall gaming experience on offer, and those who like challenging games are really going to appreciate Vampire Vengeance. Vampire Vengeance is a free digital download and is both PAL and NTSC compatible. And that is a wrap on another episode of the C64 Roundup. Hope you enjoyed it and you found a few items that piqued your interest. All download links are available in the video description. Until next time, bye for now.